throat pass. You get lumps.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Sunday service at Kaneohe Higashi Hongwanji, February 11th. My name is Sharlan Nakamoto, and I'll serve as your MC this morning. If you could please rise, we'll have a Gassho and meditation.
Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida.
If you can remain standing, we'll continue with Vandana, Ti-Sarana, and the three treasures found in your service book on page 46. Page 46.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Homage to the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Difficult is to receive life in human form. Now we are living. Difficult to hear the Buddha Dharma. Now we hear it. If you do not receive awakening in this present life, then what life can we hope to receive it? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Dharma and Buddha. May we together as one begin on the great path of enlightenment, holding our hearts the supreme aspiration. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we together as one enter the storehouse of the Dharma and attain the true wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we together as one unite in harmony, strive for live for the benefit of all beings. The incomparable, deep and profound Dharma is difficult to encounter, even through countless age of kalpas. Now we are privileged to hear and to receive it. Let us endeavor to truly understand the true meaning of the Buddha Dharma. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.
Please be seated. We'll now have the chanting of SHOSHINGE found on page 20 to 39 in our service book.
Oso に自在性自在を無償刀剣勝負上病院国土人間自然膜混流無常修正感情報系無大偶然高校私有私小中重生妙正文字法不法無量無縁公無限無大公園の象徴喚起知恵公不断難し無償公超日学校精進生一切群上無交渉本願名号症状号死心信行観に浄土学書大名藩一種面倒感情中如来勝利公衆生唯生弥陀本願会公辱悪事群上会往生如来如実言応報一年喜愛心不断煩悩特例犯本性逆法さえ入入手し入会一義摂取信仰上昇後異の随波無明案頓内心臓死運無上腹心智心人天異尿日光不無運無資源妙無案逆心天教大教基即応調整合悪種一切全幕本部に問心如来偶然願本部広大小芸者全人形ふんがりけいたく本願念仏邪見教満悪宗教信教重視人民難難中止難昔インド祭天使論芸中華時期力士こそ現代諸法聖書意如来本性法義釈迦如来ヨガ聖一種法名南天寺空流十大智出土世質の在派本天先生大乗無常法召喚議事小安楽天神南行六六信行異行指導楽億年二座無本願地面即時流律上唯の上昇如来を大大偶然四天神菩薩総論世奇妙無下光如来永修たら見心寺高専高長大聖願応有本願力栄光異道分上小一心奇妙苦特大法界立脚入大永修修特殊連芸創世界即昇進妙法昇進有本能人間人図入生自音自用芸本自動乱要天使情報乱処方さらい三蔵ルシ十上教文章宣教気楽法天神菩薩論中へ報道因果見性願応言栄光ゆたりき症状死因
唯心心惑前本部心地法承知承知即年半一子無量光明道小衆上回復権同社結晶東南省唯名浄土活入安全自力変言宗円満特合感染症三風三神慶音言ローマ法名道品一生増悪地偶然思案妖怪小妖怪公愛上三陽逆悪公明明五権威年介入本願大智慧行者小寿今後心上期一年総合より大と逆三人即所無所市上楽原神公開一大教延期安女間一切先祖修士反戦人法華二道小弁流国中悪人唯勝負火薬剤に摂取中煩悩証言政府権大義無権上昇が本次元空妙仏教年民全幕本部人新書教書公編集戦弱本願具悪性原来生じ臨弁下決知義上異生死即入弱上無意楽必知信心異能入仏教大智修士と上際無縁極辱悪同族自主無道心唯化心し今に実行を得たまえり方針の降臨際もなく世の名を照らすなり知恵の光明赤いなし無量の所相ことごとく公共かむらぬものはなし信じ妙に奇妙せよ下駄の降臨際もなし法則か無るものは皆有無を離ると述べたも平等確に奇妙せよ幸運無限女 国一切の腕に触りなし光沢かむらぬものぞなき難思議を奇妙せよ少女巧妙並びなし武士公のゆえなれば一切の冒険も覗こりぬ一挙へを奇妙せよ仏教商用最大一公園の仏と名付けたり三途の国は開くなり大用語奇妙万日苦毒平等性一切道を大心往生安楽
I ask your palms together in Gassho. I take refuge in Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandabu, Namandabu, Namandabu. We vow to be able to all this mental truth. Together to raise the mind of God and awaken the realm of surrender and joy. Namandabu, Namandabu, Namandabu. Namandabu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
We'll now have our Dharma talk this morning by Reverend Sawada.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandabu, 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 Namandabu. Before I start my Dharma talk, I'd like to bring your word, how listen to the heart. One, you should listen as you are listening this message for the very first time. Two, you should listen as this message is for you alone. And three, you should listen as this is the last time you will ever do so in your life. Namandab, namandab, namandab. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for following us here on the YouTube channel, and the people came here today. Thank you so much. Today, I want to make a talk about the three treasures, the Buddha, the Sangha, and the Dharma, or the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. When you open this three treasures, we read this word, difficult to come to this word as human, difficult to encounter Buddha's teachings difficult is to hear, and it's more difficult is to follow it. Yeah. If you don't awaken in this life, when do you hope to do that? Yeah. This is really important things. The three treasures. But what does mean three treasures? Three treasures actually is come. You come only by listening to the Buddhas. But what does mean listen to the Buddhas? What does mean these three treasures? I want to share some things I did lately. I'm visiting members. I could visit 8 houses until now, 8 peoples, 8 families there. But I can remember one episode 1.5 years ago when I visit Mrs. Helen Maki. She used to, maybe much before she used to come to the temple, but when she became a little sick and elderly, she couldn't come, but she was a little forgetting things. I suddenly, because I try to visit people, usually doesn't come to the temple, yeah. And I visited her first time. That she was really afraid because she was alone at home there, and maybe 86 years old. She was 80 years, I'm not sure that time. And I, from the window there, I saw that I'm a Higashi Hongwanji minister. Yeah? And that she told me, no, I don't know who you are. Yeah? No, I'm a resident minister at your temple there. And I want to thank you for being member and helping us for a long time. Oh, my husband isn't here. Actually, her husband had passed for a long time ago, but she told about the husband because she was afraid about my presence there. But then I just started to do outside the chanting there. She was quiet and she started to listen to the chanting there, and it became that I could chant some word with her there. Well, it was really interesting relation. When I started like a tambutsuge, the chant there, she became quiet and listened to, and it started to. I don't know what kind of things happened there, but and last week I visited the new member Lloyd Maki, her son, and I didn't notice them too, but I went there. Oh, they were really happy. I can say, yeah, come, thank you for coming, thank you. And they gave me beverage, they gave me that. Oh, yeah, how this kind of thing. Sometimes when I visit people, long time, a lot of people used to, oh, I don't know who you are. Make a little sometimes, but mostly these people I visited, most of them, they visit me. Really, I think why? This is the power of the Sangha, the Buddha, and Sangha, Buddha, and Dharma. Yeah? This is what we have to listen to. And they came for a long time to listen to them, listen to this kind of things. And there is a lot of aspiration, a lot of the wish there, desire. Yeah? And what this means, this Buddha? Buddha, we think is our teacher. But Buddha, I can see Buddha, I went there as a minister, it could be in the position of the teacher, but when Mrs. Mark passed 3 months after, I met their family. And their family, her family, make a lot of connection because the children, they don't come to the temple, but from her death, we could meet each other. And I could learn about a lot of things from Mrs. Maki, and Mrs. Maki I could see her more than I visited her first time. Yeah, that what kind of things happen? This is the power of these three treasures, because in these three treasures there is an aspiration for the next generation. Yeah? This is the power of the Buddha teacher, the Dharma teachings, and the Sangha, we, the followers of the Buddha's teaching. But then I realized that each member I visit, there is a lot of this aspiration. There is these three components there, these three treasures. We cannot change anything, yeah? We think we as the center of everything. Yesterday, we had a nice class from Haneda Sensei, and he was telling about he was telling about first, then, and me last. What does it mean, Sensei? First, then, and me last. Is we are so self-centered, that we are so egotistical. When in the sutra is written, in the larger sutra is written, you come along, yeah? You go along. You be born alone, and you die alone. It's like since we came here, we got our ego until the last day of our life. We cannot remove this ego. We live in this ego. This is what this come alone, go alone, born alone, die alone. Then, when Sensei wrote that they first, me late. That means why we are so attached with this ego, we really cannot see something. We cannot realize this kind of thing. But what makes us to realize these things is not you, it's something stronger than you. Like I realize Mrs. Helen as a Buddha, yeah. I realize there is aspiration, and when the children receive me there in their homes, oh yeah, this is, I cannot describe why, but it doesn't come from this Marcos, yeah? I didn't do nothing. Only there is this aspiration working, this desire working to keep something important, yeah? To you awaken for this reality we cannot see, we cannot describe, we cannot understand. But there is this work of these three treasures, the Buddha, the teacher, the Dharma, the teaching, the laws, and we as a Sangha. But in the Sangha, there is the Buddha, the Dharma, there are teachers. You can think, oh, Sensei is in a position here of the teacher, like a teacher, but actually in Buddhism doesn't work that way. Yeah? Not because I'm talking, this is not my word. This is not come from. This is this aspiration working to you understand a little bit more this self. What does mean this self? This self you think is come along, go along, be born alone, and die alone. But there is of course, this is impermanence, but there is something bigger working, this aspiration. This aspiration tells us about day first, me late. That means I cannot become the Buddha's aspiration is you have to become Buddha. I have to help people to become Buddha. If they don't become Buddha, I cannot be Buddha. Your happiness will be my happiness. Your suffering is my suffering. This is really hard to understand that how we can, because we are so attached with our ego. Because then this is the reason we have to listen to these teachings. You have to listen this aspiration. Why you say listen? Listen because listen comes from word, W-O-R-D. And if this word cannot be transmitted for you, this to you cannot perpetuate. But there is this word, there is tradition, there is history. And for this history, there is a teacher Buddha, and there is a teaching, the Dharma. And there is people to listen to. If there isn't these three treasures, we cannot really continue this temple too. Because this aspiration is the most important thing you have to listen. It's not because I'm talking here, I can be, this a position of the teacher, but in Buddhism it doesn't work that way. Not people are talking. You work as a teacher. You work as a Buddha, you work as a Dharma, and you work as a Sangha. These three compounds is what we have to listen. This is what means listen. Means we need a teacher, we need the teachings, and we need the mirror. The mirror is your partners. We are mirror each other. We cannot only do by ourselves because it doesn't come by yourself. Come from these three treasures. This aspiration from these three. Yes, I visit Mrs. Kakisako too. Mrs. Kelda Kakisako. She is 90 years old now, and her husband 96 years old, Mr. Richard. And she was, I'm shocked because just a few days ago I read in the newsletter that Mrs. Tokie just passed. I came with her in 1956 to Hawaii to get married. We came from the same city. Fukuoka Prefecture in Japan. And when it's part of me going, yeah. This is the really sad and pain, yeah, for her, your heart, because they came from the same kind of roots from Japan, got married with a local there, here, and it is all time, yeah. And when she felt this part of her going, yeah, this is a separation. And in the same time, her husband has one problem here, he cannot eat, night 7, and he was there waiting to do this sutra together, and he were really, even he can keep for a long time stand, but he was there firmly in front of this mini altar they brought from there, and we did it together. Yeah. And this is kind of how aspiration works, yeah? We cannot listen. We are so attached with our ego, yeah? We cannot see these kind of things, we cannot understand. But this temple history too, 100 years, there is this aspiration working. If we didn't have this aspiration, we couldn't be here. And this is the reason, yeah? This aspiration comes to us in the symbol of this word. I take this command, I take refuge in the Buddha. I take the infinite light, infinite compassion, infinite wisdom. Yeah? But all this, they first, me after, or me last, that means you should come back for your origin. You're back for your condition as a human. The place you never left is right now. I don't have the past, I don't have the future, but we live in this span of time, this fantasy. You have only right now. And right now, we cannot grab, we cannot do not worry, we can only stay there and contemplate and realize. This is, yeah. And when you listen, realize from these 3 treasures, yeah, your path is no retrogression. You don't come back. You even this temple disappear, but the true treasure will be alive. This is the aspiration. Thank you. Difficult to come to this world as a human, difficult to encounter these Buddha's teachings, difficult to hear it, is more difficult to follow it. If you don't awaken for this present life, when do you hope to do this? When I take refuge in the Buddha, in the Dharma, in the Sangha. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Namandabu, 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 Namandabu.
Thank you, Sensei. Yes, yesterday, many of us here today was able to participate in the lecture session from Dr. Nobuo Haneda. And I hope many of us can still continue the path of learning while he is going to be offering sessions on Zoom on Wednesday evenings from 5:30 to 7:30. Because he's in Hilo today, and then he's going to head back to Berkeley. But he's offering his time and sessions with us, so for those of you who are online, please get a hold of us here at the temple so we can send in your email address and be a participant to resume the classes, and we'll send you the Zoom address, email, Zoom log on for that session. Okay. Do we have anybody who wants to share in a KANWA today? Anyone?
Buddha, Sangha,
Dharma.
about to be Dharma's friend, like a Sangha. You want to share something? Come here. We learn from each other. Bill, Barry, Joyce, Dharma.
Mary? Stan?
Mary, nothing,
Mary?
nothing?
Anything you want to share? Come here.
For me, yesterday was, we've heard Nobuo Haneda, Dr. Haneda speak. I think it was 2002, yeah, Mary, the last time before. 2022. 2022, and then yesterday, I think, I couldn't even remember if 2022 was virtual or in person, but yesterday's message, again, it was different. It was a lot of added, messages that I haven't heard before. So I thought, it was great. I really enjoyed it. I felt a surge of energy to wanting to learn and listen more to what he has to say and share, and seeing how it can help in my everyday life, I thought. So, and kind of going back to what you said, Sensei, every day, every message is a new message, the here and now, message is for you, the message is now, the message is today, not for anyone else, and you receive it differently. And so I could really feel that yesterday in the room that he was sharing with us. So for those of you who are joining us online, please feel free to join us in person, because there's a certain element that you can't really describe, but as you mentioned, we are all teachers in our sharing, in our dialogue, and in our presence with each other. So it's not just listening from a lecture or a sensei talking, but I think, after this service, we'll go downstairs and we'll talk story and share our week and our daily, what's going on. But that's a big part of sharing the Dharma and the Sangha, as you said, And it's unplanned. You're not sure who's going to be here today or this Sunday, and who's not going to be here next week. So you want to make sure you're there. You're there for being there, and you're making your time well worth, I think, in the company of each other. And that's what I really enjoy about coming here to the temple. You mentioned someone like Lloyd Maki. Lloyd and her classmates, so I hope maybe he's watching or not, but he can come and join us one day and feel welcome with our group, because I certainly feel we're here to welcome new members, as Bill and Darren and Carrie can attest to. Okay. Without any other additional thoughts, Mary, go ahead.
Yeah.
Bill?
And then Mary.
Thank you, Bill.
Come on, that's gotta be something. Joyce laughs.
Morning, everybody. I just want to say from yesterday's gathering at Betswing, it was thoroughly enjoyable for me, and I didn't expect that. I had seen Dr. Haneda online with some of his workshops, and seeing him in person was so much different for me. And some of the things I took away, because there's so much, I'm not going to remember most of it, off the top of my head, but I took a lot of notes too. He talked about, I don't remember if it was they first or them first, in his little phrase, they first, me last. That really resonates with me, not that I think about it or want to brag about it, but he talked about true happiness and our pursuit of that. Most of us as egocentric beings, sentient beings, seeking happiness, seeking, it's all self-driven. And so, what he emphasizes that in Jodo Shinshu, when we talk about, what we do, it's not our seeking of our own happiness so much as some other faiths which we have to do certain things so that we don't burn in hell for the rest of eternity, so that we reach heaven. And that's self-driven. It's individual selfishness. And I guess I never measured it or quantified it like that in my mind, but I so love that approach to life, because anytime I have achieved happiness, it's kind of a byproduct. I don't seek it by itself. But it's because I want to see my loved ones happy, and that I end up happy. It's not because I'm going to go do this and get that new car or go do that event or, whatever it happens to be by self-driven. It's just this, they first, me last, as opposed to it's all about me first and, other people last. So that's one of the tidbits that I got from yesterday's gathering, and this example of all these things. I probably should just sit and listen more, and we talk about listening, truly listening, not just, in fact, that's another thing I loved about what he said. I'm sorry, I'm chatterbox, but you talked about truly listening as opposed to, chanting or going to the temple every Sunday for 50 years, doesn't matter. None of that really matters if you don't listen and hear the message. So if I sit in the pews or gather in a temple and don't really absorb what's being shared, I'm not really growing or learning or doing anything but checking the block that okay, I'm a churchgoer. But that's if I don't worry about things like going to hell or reaching heaven, if I don't worry about those kind of things, I'll be fine. As long as I'm honest and I show compassion to others, and that's kind of what I'm growing to learn through all these interactions. So I'm just grateful for all that. And I went up to Dr. Haneda yesterday and just said I didn't, because he asked for questions. I said I don't have a question. I just wanted to express my gratitude to you, sir. And that's truly what I feel. I mean, I feel it here. It's just whatever it happens to be. The lesson may not be comfortable, it may not be in agreement with others, but it's something that I can take with me, in here. So I just love that about what I'm learning in the past year plus here. And so a lot of gratitude, and that's really all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Is there anyone else who'd like to share their thoughts today? Mary,
Okay.
come on up.
Done.
We're still online, so.
In 4 minutes, man. We're tiny. I'm sure it is. The message
Darren,
is
did you
all-
want to follow?
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what Mary says.
Honen says, listen to the teachings as though this is the first time you have heard it. Listen to the teachings as though it's meant for you and you alone. And listen to the message as though this is the last time you'll hear it. And Mary says, and Darren, this is for you. Since everybody is talking about the session yesterday, if I can sort of just summarize it for, you folks are just getting pieces of it and not quite understanding the totality of it. But I can basically summarize it, and it's going to take a little bit more than 4 minutes, Stan. But I think that it's important for us to frame it, to frame what Bill said and what Charlene said. Essentially what it is that there are 3 sutras that are the main teachings of Shinran Shonin. One is the largest sutra, the second one is the meditation sutra, and the third is the Amida Sutra. And the meditation sutra or contemplation sutra has always been taught as a story. And there is a message, but the thing is, for the longest time, we couldn't get the message, couldn't understand it. And so what Charlene says, where she says that it was really exciting because it just made everything fit together. I will share with you as concisely as I can what the Meditation Sutra is. The Meditation Sutra actually talks about this king and queen, King Bimbisara and Queen Vaidehi. They wanted a child so badly, but the thing is, try as they may, they were unsuccessful. So they finally called a soothsayer, and the soothsayer said, there is a hermit in the mountains, and why don't you go and see him? Or the soothsayer, there's a soothsayer in the mountains, and upon his death, you will have a child because he will be reborn as your child. So the king and queen are very excited about this, but the soothsayer just lives, and now they're getting really impatient. So the king and queen actually order their guards to go and kill the soothsayer so they can have their child. So the soothsayer dies, but before he dies, he says, I will avenge my death by killing you, the king. So what happens is king and queen give birth to Ajatasattu, Prince Ajatasattu. And as they grow up, Ajatasattu finds out that when he was born, his parents tried to kill him. They took him to the top of the castle and they dropped him because they thought that he was an evil soul. So miraculously, he survives, and the only thing that was injured was his little finger. So when Ajatasattu finds out about this, and the evidence is that his little finger is really crooked and had been damaged, when he finds out, he imprisons his father, and he wanted to kill his mother as well. Oh no, wait, let's stop right there. He imprisons his father and hopefully wants him to die. But the thing is, the King Bimbisara doesn't die. He just continues to live. And he later finds out from the guards that mother, Queen Vaidehi, would go into the cellar in the jail with cornmeal, what is spread on her body, and in her earrings she had wine and liquids. So whenever she went to visit the king, he would just take all of this food, and he managed to survive. So when Ajatasattu, who is now king because he has overthrown his father, when he finds out, he wants to kill his mother. And all of the bishops and all of his aides and his advisors say, never in history has a king ever killed his mother. There are many stories of the king killing his father to overthrow the kingdom, but never a mother. So he decides to just imprison her. And King Bimbisara does pass on, and Vaidehi is just really distraught, and she says, she starts to pray to the Buddha, and she says, why is it that I am being punished, and why was I given such a bad child, etc., etc. So the Buddha was having a lecture at Vulture Peak, and never had he ever transported himself. Now this is a story, so there's no truth to it, but this illustrates the concept of the saving of mankind. So the Buddha, along with two of his disciples, go to the prison where Queen Vaidehi is, and he teaches her to meditate the Pure Land. So, there's the setting sun, the beautiful flowers, the gems, the beautiful weather, everything is just really ideal and everything like that. So anyways, through his teachings and through her meditation, she realizes that she is not as good a person as she thought. She finds out that there are actually 9 levels of existence. So, we're accustomed to matrices, right? So the thing is, I'm going to have to do it backwards. On the top is the good level, and the middle is the middle level, and the third level is the bad level. And then when you go vertically, there is the degree of good, bad, or ugly. So she's thinking that she is a good person, a benevolent queen, giving, generous, etc., etc. But through her meditation, she finds out that she is not there, but she is actually the lowest of the low, which is the evil person, that we all are. We have evil in our hearts. And evil is such a bad word in the Christian sense, but the thing is, I talked to one of the ministers before and I said, why do they call it the evil person? And the minister said, Mary, it bites, doesn't it? And I said, yeah. And he says, good, because that's what we want you to realize, that you are not perfect, that you are not as good a person as you think you are, but you are human. You are human, and to be born a human, you have the 3 poisons, which is greed, anger, and ignorance. So anyways, Queen Vaidehi learns that, and so she becomes a disciple of the Buddha along with her maids in waiting, etc., etc. So this is where the story ends in volume 1 of Shinan's books. And so that's the story that we always knew. But what Haneda Sensei did was he brought it to tie in to the 17th and the 18th vow, where the Buddha had said, the Buddha said in the 17th vow, if when I attain Buddhahood, the countless Buddhas throughout the worlds in 10 quarters should not glorify and praise my name, may I not attain perfect enlightenment. The vows that are written is kind of like a double negative, so it's kind of hard to understand, but basically he's saying, if everybody in this universe, in this world, does not reach enlightenment and call my name, may I not become a Buddha. Now these vows were satisfied, and that's the reason that we have Buddhism as we have it now. That's the 17th vow. And the 18th vow says, if when I attain Buddhahood, the sentient beings of 10 quarters who with sincere and entrusting heart aspire to be born in my land and say my name even 10 times, should not be born there, may I not attain the perfect enlightenment. So essentially, again, it's saying that if all of the people do not embrace the truth, the awakening, may I not become the Buddha. But he did become the Buddha, so these vows were satisfied. Okay? So what happens is King Ajatasattu experiences such guilt. He gets really, really sick, physically and emotionally. He just really deteriorates. And so he is looked at by the kingdom's best physicians, doctors, specialists, priests, they all come and they say, oh, you have to do this, or whatever, but he doesn't get well. So effectively what happens is one doctor finally says, you know, why don't you go and see the Buddha? Because he certainly would be able to help you. So Ajahn Sadhu says, well, you know, I don't really know, but you know, I'm willing to give it a try. So he goes to the Buddha, and the Buddha is now 80 years old and he's dying. And he understands the plight of Ajahn Sadhu, and he says to Ajahn Sadhu, I will be with you to resolve this, because I have made a vow that I will save everyone before I save me. So Dr. Haneda's lecture was, they first, me last. And he says that's the gist of Buddhism. And we had never heard it in that context. So now, as Dr. Haneda is unfolding the story and bringing in the last chapter of the story, we find out that this is the last chapter of the teachings of Shinran as well, because it ties in, finally, for us at least, who have been studying Buddhism forever, is that the Buddha has said through this story that I will save all others first before I save myself. They first, me last. So that's the lesson, Darren, of the Meditation Sutra and yesterday's lecture. Now, Dr. Haneda, I keep telling you guys about how wonderful he is. You will never, ever meet or hear a Buddhist lecturer who has so much compassion and so much excitement about teaching the Buddhist teaching, Shinran's teachings. And it is just amazing, because you know that he's doing this week after week, venue after venue, because he goes to all of these California temples and to Chicago and New York. But he never loses his enthusiasm. It's as though he's giving this lecture for the first time and he goes, no, you can't do this, or whatever. He is just so excited about the teachings. So if you can, please check our website, and we'll have the dates and the not the links, we'll have the dates of the following lectures. There are 3 more. And if you email us, the thing is we can send you the link, okay? But anyways, that is what was so great about yesterday. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Joyce, did you want to follow up there? She said it all, yeah.
Darren wants to.
Thank you, Mary.
Darren, come.
Anyone else?
Darren.
Uh-oh, Mary's pushing, okay.
Okay, Darren. Thank you for joining us today.
Right. Good morning, everyone. As you all know, I'm Darren. My friend Sawada is here with us today. She's visiting from Germany. Although I did not attend this Saturday teaching, Mary, I think you emphatically, and you said it like Joyce said, said it all. I guess the takeaway for me is that we're all learning every day, and having someone like Sawada come into town, I enjoy going around and seeing things on the island, and sometimes you see things through new eyes when you have another person with you and you don't realize these things. So I enjoyed this sort of informational exchange that we have, and she tells me things about her life in Germany, and I explain things about my life here in Hawaii. And that's really about it. So, yesterday we went to the swap meet and she just loved it and she thought it was incredible. And I was like, oh, really? Yeah, to me, it's just so normal and no big deal, but she just loved it. Anyway, so the takeaway is we're always learning. Every day is a new experience, every day is a new beginning. And that's about it. That's all I had to say.
Thank you.
Carrie? Oh, and Stan. You said she had 4 minutes, 4 plus the 7, 13. 13 minutes and 8 seconds. Okay, thank you. Stan? Sawada?
Wanna share?
Welcome, Savannah. And thank you, Darren, for bringing her and for having a great relationship and her openness to coming and joining us. Okay, anyone else? Okay, if not, thank you again for joining us. And before we end, let's go back to our service book and singing of Ondokusan, which is found on Ondokusan II, which is found on page 54. Please rise if you're able to.
Let me explain something. When you sing Shinshu Shuka, we don't sing it with Gassho. When we sing Ondokusan, usually we sing it with Gassho. But because we don't know the lyrics, we do that, okay?
Namanda.
Please turn to page 127 for the singing of Gatha Nenbutsu. Please be seated. Are there any announcements this morning?
We have next first Saturday of March, we're going to have a second class of daily Buddhist.
At 9 o'clock, the first Saturday in March, since he's going to be leading a class on daily Buddhism, how it affects our daily life. That starts at 9 o'clock on Saturday, again, first Saturday, okay?
And advice.
Mary?
The farewell barbecue luncheon or sensei.
Okay. We are having, thank you, mahalo, farewell barbecue here at the temple for Norma and Reverend Marco Sawada as they will be heading to Hilo as the resident minister effective April 1st. So our barbecue here, please join us. It'll be on Sunday on February, March 17th? Sunday, March 17th.
And
Okay.
March 10 we have Ohigan services and
Right. Thank you. On March 10th, Sunday, we will have our Ohigan service here with our special guest speaker, Reverend Bert Sumikawa. So please join us. Thank you. Sensei, are you gonna do a health session right now for a few minutes
Very
before
short.
we go down for refreshments? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Today I will give you a small tip. It's called to detox way of your breathing. Detox. Usually we have to use this area called this diaphragm area there, and you try to breathe in from the nose, but you have to become like a vacuum. You have to expel everything from your. You work this liver meridian, the liver here, and you can detox here. But to do this, you have to put a little power here to breathe out the air there. And let's try to do. You put your hands here and you go until deep breath. And you try to do, it's like a first you close your mouth there and do. You do about 10 times.
Sitting
Again.
or standing,
Sitting or
Inhale.
standing?
which is better?
No, 10 times.
Sitting or standing?
We can do sitting too, yeah. What is important to you, make your low
Diaphragm.
abdomen here like a compressed, like
Pushing a balloon.
yeah, like yeah, like. The tips today was this: you do 10 times, yeah, 10 times. Every time you can make your clean a little bit, because the liver is really important, yeah, to us to clean your body. If you don't your liver don't work well, didn't work or doesn't work, you have a lot of toxin inside of you. Yeah, this is a way we can make to sleep better and to make more disposition and to help your circulation, everything. Then 10 times today. Yeah. Thank you for today. Your hands together in Gassho. Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namandava, 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 namandava.